live show on.
All right, I'll get rid of it. Hello and welcome to Santos on Sports. As usual, alongside Chris Santos, I am Paul Santos. Welcome in. We'd like to thank our sponsors before we get into it here. First of all, Scotty's Pub, 202 Pleasant Street in Fall River, Citywide Glass, with three locations to serve you in Dartmouth, Fall River, and Taunton. We have Lakeville Athletic Club, 325 Bedford Street in Lakeville, where you can play tennis, pickleball, and more. And Attorney John Seed, 156 8th Street in New Bedford. And you can go to johnseedlaw.com for more. Chris, how are we doing today?
I am well, Paul. And the last time we talked, I was on my way to the New Bedford Gridiron Hall of Fame. Had a great evening with 5 inductees, an absolute blast over at the Century House. A lot of fun. Then obviously we had Thanksgiving morning where we had the New Bedford and Durfee rivalry. And then we kept going from there on to watch 3 football games with Buffalo, Detroit, obviously Dallas and the Giants. Finish up with your Patriots against the Vikings. And then obviously into the weekend. And after all that is said and done, New England finds themselves now at 6-5, the 8th seed in a playoffs that they wouldn't make right now if it ended today. And you have the Jets, Buffalo, and Miami all in front of them, with Miami and Buffalo 8-3, the Jets 7-4. So the AFC looking very good parity-wise to try to get 3 teams into the playoffs. And only the Chargers at also 6-5. They're like the 9 seed next to the Patriots. So my question, Paul, to you is this Thursday night the do or die game for the New England Patriots? Is it desperate times for New England in a must win? Instead of going 6-6, got to be 7-5 to try to make that playoff stretch run against a team that started hot in Buffalo, but have calmed down lately and come back to reality a little bit and just lost Von Miller, and Allen hasn't been playing that good as of late. How big of a game is this for the New England Patriots Thursday night?
I don't think there's any question about it. That's a must game. Now, you could say they could lose this one and then win the next 4 in a row or something like that and still compete for the wild card. But, if you're going to be a team that's going to do anything in the playoffs, and again, this isn't a Super Bowl team. Nobody's saying that. But, the whole thing was, could you just at least match last year or do a little bit better than last year? And so going against this Buffalo team, I got to tell you, I don't see them beating them, even though Buffalo has tripped up just a little bit. Maybe they not playing as good as they were at the beginning of the year. I mean, that Patriots defense, you see them in that last game. We talked about it last week. They were raving about the defense the week before. Oh, yeah, they held the opponent to 3 points and all that. Well, who are they playing? It was a windy day, playing a lousy opponent. Now you play somebody good, different story. You couldn't stop them. And by the way, the offense, they weren't that great either, especially in the clutch. So this team is mediocre. The defense is mediocre. The offense is mediocre. The quarterback is mediocre. People calling the plays are mediocre. So that's why you end up with, you play a lousy team, you beat them. You play a good team, you lose. That's basically what you are. And it's unfortunately because they really could have been better than this.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things that stand out. Let's start with the offense. Are the weapons there for Mac Jones? That's the question that people are asking now. Does he have what it takes to lead this group of guys? So now let's talk about Myers. You talk about Aguilar. You talk about Parker. You talk about Bourne. Are those 4 receivers well worth the description to help Mac Jones out? Or do I keep dumping down, obviously, to Smith and Henry, and even leading the team in receptions, Stevenson out of the backfield? So that's the first one. When you made the moves to get those guys, that's what you thought was going to step the offense right there. Are they capable of doing that? That's the big question. That's number 1 for me. Number 2 this year has been third down conversions, where they're like 26th in the NFL, and then red zone, where they're 31st in the NFL. Those are 2 big areas, Paul, because third down moves the chains. And then obviously, red zone, I'm all set with 3 points. I got to find a way to get 7. So for me, the offense, it's those 3 big things that come to Mac Jones in mind. Is Mac that bad? I don't think so. I think he's a good quarterback. Isn't he elite? No. But I think he's good. Now, does he have the weapons behind him? That's the question that you have to ask yourself as a New England fan. And then how do you make those third down conversions and obviously score in the red zone? That's been a big issue this year in my eyes on the offense.
Well, that last thing about the red zone, right? They go into the red zone, and I'm watching the game, and I'm thinking to myself, they get down there. I think they had a first and goal, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, I have no confidence they're going to score on this. You know what I mean? They always go to these running plays, and they never have Mac Jones get in there and fire a
Yeah.
BB into the end zone. You know, I mean, there's only one time I saw that, and can I say that name one time? I'm only gonna say the name one time.
Go
Zappy.
ahead.
When Zappy was
Go
in
ahead.
there, Zappy stepped
Right.
up in the pocket and fired the ball into the end zone to Thornton and scored a touchdown. Okay, now that team they were playing wasn't that great, but the Vikings defense, their pass defense, they're rated 32nd in the whole league. Last place in the
Yep.
whole league pass defense, right? So yeah, you went up and down the field, but as soon as you got in the red zone, you couldn't do anything. So yes, I don't think it's all Mac Jones's fault. I think instituting this offense, we talked about that, Patricia and Judge and so on and so forth. But having said that, the other guy could still step up in the pocket and make a play. This guy is mediocre, just like the people calling the play. So I think that's definitely true. I don't want to put all on Mac Jones. We talked about it before. A lot of it's not his fault, but I still think there's that it thing. We talked about it before. It seemed like the other guy was a little bit better at least, stepping up in the pocket and making something happen. Before you respond to that, I want to just mention the number real quick. It's on the screen, 774 762 6234. Let's see if we can get the callers coming in. Mark Sylvia says it is a must win. It is a must win. So, Mark, give us a call. I want to hear what you mean by that. Isn't that Mr. Guarantee? Is that Mr. Guarantee?
It is.
Yeah.
And, listen, he knows as well as anybody else what this team's about. But I will guarantee you this, Paul. I truly believe Buffalo will punt in this game on Thursday.
All right. All right. That sounds good. Now, speak of the devil. Hello,
Yes.
you're on Santos on Sports.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Oh gosh, I'm still coming off this COVID trip, so not good. But I'll tell you, this is going to be a tough spot. I don't want to say the season was all about Thanksgiving, but I'm with Chris. I looked at that game they're going to win, and they had every opportunity to win it. Obviously, the defense fell apart. Everybody's bunched up now in the AFC. They still have a decent conference record, but I got to look at this as 10 wins. You got to have 10 wins to get into the playoffs in the AFC, in my opinion. I'm going to break the season down into 2 3-game series, right? You got Buffalo twice in Miami. Unfortunately, you got to take 2 out of those 3. And then you got the Raiders, you got the Bengals, and you got the Cardinals, and you got to take 2 out of those 3. I had them winning against the Bengals at home in a couple of weeks. That's a tough game now. Bengals are the hottest team in the league. So, and then if the Bengals win their division, Baltimore's a wild card, and they lost to Baltimore. So that game against the Vikings was a big, big game. And unfortunately, I don't think you want to have to rely on a win at Buffalo. So this week's in New England, you got to win this game.
Well, I got to tell you, I agree. I'm looking at the schedule over here. You almost could argue, too, that those 3 games against the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Bengals, you might have to sweep those 3, and then you would only need one of the other 3 to get in.
That's another way to look at it. I just think, to me, the Raiders and the Cardinals to me seem easy, but they're both road games, so something could go wrong there. But I think because they lost to the Vikings, they got to win. They got to win 4 out of the next 6.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree with him. And Arizona becomes intriguing because obviously they're a different team when Kyler Murray's playing compared to when Colt McCoy's playing. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle him, another running quarterback, which they've had not much success with this season. So I have to keep an eye on that. And then obviously they're going to keep an eye on the Jets, and they'll keep an eye on the Bengals, the two teams in front of them, to see how they're faring up, when it comes to strength of schedule, and obviously matching them with them being at 6-5 right now, and the other two teams are 7-4. The Bengals have seemed to have come on as of late, stepping up their game even without Jamar Chase, and the Jets continue to hang around, in that situation. But for New England specifically, this game here, I think they could be seeing Buffalo at the right time. Remember, 3 games in a 12-game stretch. They haven't been home. They've been on the road with the snowstorms, and in Detroit and back to Detroit and all over the place. Von Miller injured, elbow still banged up with Allen. He's been suspect of us as of late. So they might be catching them at the right time. I think, Allen's going to see a different defense than last year when it comes to guys like Jones, Mills, the other Jones, McCourty, and Duggar back there. So might be able to help them. They just got to make sure they keep Allen focused in that pocket and don't let him get crazy. Because if he gets crazy, forget about it. He's probably the best, him and Mahomes, in the league at getting away and throwing the ball down the field on the run.
So what do you think, Mark?
Well, I agree. I think one of the challenges, Von Miller being out, but I think not having Damian Harris is going to hurt, because now you're going to do one of two things. Either you're going to be running Stevenson all game, in addition to catching balls, or they're going to have another game with 9 or 10 rushes and have Mac throw 35 balls. Because I think, even though they haven't been running great, having Harris and Stevenson together, you can go 8 or 9 rushes apiece. You take Harris out, it's either a big workload for Stevenson or a big workload for Mac. Now, listen, say what you want. Mac had probably his best game of the year. Well, no doubt his best game of the year against the Vikings. I get it. One of the worst defenses in the league. Yep. But, he hadn't thrown the ball over 20 yards consistently. He had several of those. But, again, they're still stepping on themselves, and the coaching is terrible. They never go for it on 4th down again, no matter where they are on the field. It's like, we got a good kicker, we're going to take 3 points. And at some point, they got to put it on the offense and say, guys, we got to get a 1st down, we got to extend this drive, and we got to get a touchdown. It's like field goal. And you're sitting there going, holy Christ, their most valuable player is Nick Folk.
Well, I'm watching that game, right? And a lot of people have talked about, oh, yeah, Mac Jones, that was his best game. And it's true, it was his best game. But in the end, what does that really say? Because in the 4th quarter, when the chips are on the table, I mean, we used to have a guy that would come through when the chips are on the table. So I know we're spoiling all that. But when you got into the 4th quarter and you really needed to move the ball and really come through, they couldn't do anything. They were feeble and couldn't move the ball. And, and then when they got the ball back that last time, I don't think anybody was expecting, the offense to come down the field with 1 minute left. But I remember thinking, we have no chance here. This is going to be a joke. And what happens the first play, Mac Jones goes back, almost gets a safety, doesn't get rid of the ball. He never gets rid of the ball quick enough. I mean, a couple of those sacks he had, he probably could have got rid of the ball. There's a couple of balls he forced, and in retrospect, there were people open. So again, he was good, but let's not get too excited. I mean, he went from bad to mediocre, and everybody's all excited. And then how about all the mistakes? These are things that, boy, these Belichick teams, we don't make these kind of dumb mistakes. You rough the punter, which really resulted not only in the end of that drive, or actually the opportunity for the Patriots to start their own drive. They got the 1st down and went all the way down the field and scored on that, right? Then there was the kickoff return right after the Patriots had scored. There was the situation in Hunter Henry when he caught the ball, but then they said he didn't really catch the ball and all that. So, hey, that wasn't their fault. But the mistakes, how about when Hunter Henry didn't go out of bounds at the end of the 1st half? It was just kind of ran in the middle of the field, got tackled. I'm like, what are you doing? Got out of bounds, like just basic stuff, and again, and then How about the defense, right? After one of those games, not this last game, the game before, oh boy, Matt Judon, hey, Matt Judon is having a great year. Oh, the defense this, the defense that, the defense that. Yeah, but you just played a team that sucks. So you can't, you play a good team. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, the defense wasn't as good as we thought. No, they're exactly what I thought. Maybe it's not as good as you thought.
You mediocre. You thought they were mediocre. We heard you.
Yeah, they're average. They're mediocre, right? So what do you think?
Hey, Paul, I'll tell you, though, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the defense because the defense is a weakness coming into this year. They've had a great year, and everybody knows, hey, you've had a great year against Jared Goff and Zach Wilson.
Exactly.
And the backup for the Colts. You got all primetime quarterbacks the rest of this season. So, listen, they could win 7 games or they could still win 10. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for Mac. He had a good game, but I'm going to tell you, we can't underestimate losing McDaniels. I mean, those guys don't have any clue what they're doing, and he's a second-year quarterback. Like I said this in the offseason, what are we going to do without Josh McDaniels? I think that's they underestimated the impact that was going to have on Mac Jones, and Belichick said, hey, what do we need a coordinator for? We can get this done. Big mistake.
It's almost like they ruined him. They ruined him almost,
Almost ruined him.
Yeah. All right, let's get Chris. What's Chris is thinking over there? Can you hear me, Chris? I think we're having some audio issues over here. All right, we'll pick them up in just a moment. But yeah, I think when you're playing weak teams, it's easy to overestimate or kind of, give them a little bit more credit than really they deserve. And I think that's happened a lot. You see some of these games, the Jets, the Colts, the Browns and Lions, and all these teams that the Steelers, and some of these teams that we consider that are mediocre in a week. The Patriots just barely beat them. It wasn't like they blew them out. Some of them they did, but not all of them.
Yeah, listen, it's depressing. Losing that game to the Vikings just put them behind the 8 ball. It's going to be a challenge. I think you got to get to 10 wins. However you divvy that up, you got to do it. And I think it's going to come down to beating Baltimore, Miami, and Cincinnati. You probably got to win 2 of those 4 games. And, hey, I got to get running. I'm glad I could get in. I haven't called in a while. And last thing I want to say is I'm going to tell you, them Celtics look awfully damn tough. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Jason Tatum might be my favorite player.
We'll have to pick that up. I think he's surrounded by such talent that the games are never close. So he never has to come through in the clutch because they're always blowing everybody out. But they definitely have the best talent in the league.
Holy smokes. Well, hey, I'll enjoy the rest of the show, and I'm glad you were able to squeeze me in, and great show. Thanks a lot,
Hey,
guys.
thank you very much. All right, Mark from Chicago, right here on Santos on Sports. Okay, let's see if we can get my partner back in over here. Are you there, Chris? All right, well, we're still having some issues over here with Chris's connection, which seems to have been the case the last few weeks. So I'm going to try something here. I'm going to move my laptop a little bit closer to me. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to say something to you, and that is, why don't you give us a call at 774-762-6234. We like to have callers anyway, but if I'm talking to myself, then I think I want callers even more than I normally do. See if I can get Chris back in over here. Let's see. Is Chris there? Let's see. I see his face, but I don't see him. So let's see. I'm going to try to get him on the phone. Again, 774-762-6234. Give us a call here on. So yeah, the Patriots, I mean, I find it pretty frustrating that, they can't seem to get the offense the way it needs to be. The defense, I think, is somewhat overrated. I think that, when you really analyze it, the defense is not as good as we thought. A lot of people are saying, well, we thought the defense was better. Well, I got to tell you, if you look back at some of the recordings, I never did. I mean, when you shut down the Jets and everybody's all pumping their fist and pounding their chest and everything else, you know what I think about that? I think that's a lot of nonsense. I think that, it doesn't really matter. I don't think they're that good. I think the defense was overrated based on who they were playing. And offensively, oh my God, I hate to put it on Mac Jones again. We're talking about how, having these weaker weaker offensive coordinators in there has really hurt Mac, and I don't think there's any question about it. And the thing that is unfortunate about that is, they actually have contributed to him taking a step back. And that's really unfortunate because I think he was pretty good last year. He turned out to be an all-pro just barely. He led the team to 10-7 his first year. And yet there he was, this year regressing, basically because of everything that went on with the offensive coordinating. So again, I do think that it's very unfortunate. It's not all on him, but I do think that he's missing that little extra thing that Zappe had. Zappe could step up in the pocket and do a few things that Matt couldn't do, and I think that's pretty concerning. All right, let's see if we can get Chris Santos back over here. Chris, are you there?
I am here, Paul.
You're there. Okay, good. I've been talking to myself for the last 5 minutes, but that's okay. There's nobody to interrupt me. Not that you never interrupt me or anything, but I'm talking to myself. So my wife's probably thinking, why is he talking to himself? But anyway,
No problem.
He is back. But we'd like to again encourage people to call 774-762-6234. Sounds like Mark and I are usually on the same page when we're assessing the Patriots. We see those same weaknesses. We are skeptical when they have a good week, because when they have a good week, it's usually against a weak opponent. So I'm looking at them like, let's not get too excited. Let's not pound our chest too much about what happened in that game. And then you play like a quality opponent, and then you see that there are things that are being exposed. And I think that's what we saw this last week. All right, there's Chris right there. We can kind of see him. He's a little on the blurry side, but he is there. And Chris, are you able to hear me? I don't know. There's something going on with the internet over here. Unfortunately, we can't.
I got you now, Paul. You're kind of breaking up in and out, but I'll do the best I can with it. But yeah, no, I have to agree.
Go ahead,
you're on. Paul?
Yes, I can. Go ahead. Let me try something over here. There's some big time experimentation going on over here. Not able to hear me? All right. Well, we're talking Patriots. I know that last caller was talking about the Celtics and what a great year the Celtics are having. I'm looking at how deep they are. I don't think there's another team in the league that's that deep. And so I'm looking at talent-wise. Talent usually wins in the NBA. You don't have too many upsets. So right now, I think the Celtics are looking good to win the whole thing. What does Chris think about that? We're going to have to do some mind reading over here.
Oh, easily. Even Tatum out. Yeah, Tatum out. Brown looks great. Brown's out. Tatum looks great. Never mind the bench. The bench has been solid. You hear me okay, Paul?
Yes.
Paul, you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
I think the bench is outstanding. There are times, head coaches using them just right to rest their starters. They've been getting big leads. They're getting production everywhere, all over the floor. They're passing great. They really matured from last year and put some more pieces of the puzzle together by getting some of these other guys like Hauser and a few more, like even Blake Griffin helping out. They've done a really nice job of putting this all together. And even with the distraction of Udoka, still coming right out and playing strong right from the get-go.
Yeah, well, talent really kind of wins in the NBA. I'm not taking anything away from the young coach that's in there, but the impact of the coach probably more limited than we think. And even with Udoka, at the beginning of the year, he really wasn't making any difference. It was when we got near the trade deadline that those guys got together and said, hey, look, they're talking about trading me and you and him and everybody else. We're either going to pull it together and win or not. And I think that's what kind of pulled it together. Udoka got a lot of credit. That's fine and everything else. But, in the NBA, you got the talent. You're going to win the game, I think. It's less about coaching.
Yeah.
So anyway, 774-762-6234. Give us a call here on Santos on Sports. and we can talk a little bit about everything, whether it's the Celtics, the Patriots, the Bruins, and of course the Red Sox. Will probably hold off a little bit on the Red Sox, but the Celtics are winning, so easily. But I got to tell you, Jason Tatum is having a great year so far. There's no question about it. But every single game's a blowout. You know what I mean? He never has to come through and make the last shot. And I know I'm always harping on hitting the last shot, but you're in a playoff game, the chips are down. I want to be able to see them come back and win the game, because Tatum did something down the stretch. And, I still really haven't seen that. You know what I mean? As great as he's been playing. All right, there goes Chris again. Chris is being abducted by aliens over here, so we're gonna have to go over here, and unfortunately we're having some issues with Chris. So, since that is the case, I'm going to ask our viewers to give us a call here at 774-762-6234, and we can continue to talk sports here on Santos on Sports. Don't forget, this Thursday the Patriots are playing none other than the Buffalo Bills. And that's going to be quite a difficult game, I think, against the Buffalo Bills. Much different story. Chris makes a good point that they're playing Buffalo at the right time. So if they upset them, I don't know if I'd be totally shocked. But, I mean, if they play a good game, Buffalo does, and Josh Allen starts running around, that's what Mark said, over. They got to find a way to stop Josh Allen. And I haven't seen them stop a quarterback like that over the last couple of years. So why would I think they were going to do it this week? I don't think so. All right, there's Chris not really hearing us. All right. Well, it's unfortunate because
balance is very important, Paul. Yeah, you hear me on that one, Paul? Balance?
Yes.
Paul, you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, balance is really important for the Patriots. They got to make sure they have run and pass, obviously working. The Vikings did a good job of shutting down the run, and that's why Mac did, all his passing in that game. Patriots got to find a way to balance that out a little bit, and then obviously get the support and the help on the defensive side of the ball, but convert on third down and obviously convert in the red zone are the two big things if you want to beat the Buffalo Bills. And then you got to win all phases of the game, special teams, as well as, winning the possession and winning the flags. Everything like that has to all come together. So they got to have better balance in what they're doing, both on the offense and defense and in even special teams.
It seems like it's the same story. Every week you look back at the game and you say, oh, yeah, if it was only for these couple of plays. And, Bill Belichick will even say in the post-game press conference, in the NFL, it does come down to a few plays. You play the game for 3 hours, and there's a couple of plays here and there. But that penalty, when the punter rushing into the punter like that, I was thinking, what are you doing? You're just about to get the ball back. I know they were trying to make a play there, but that was just a bad mistake. And, it gave Minnesota the opportunity to become invigorated, and then they marched right down the field and scored a touchdown, right? And then, obviously, the kickoff return. Yeah, very, very rare that you see that. Somebody run a ball back. I mean, the Patriots did it on a punt the week before, but to have somebody just run the ball back like that, I'm like, oh, that's just terrible. Now, again, there were arguments that the official could have called holding on that. They also took the touchdown away from Hunter Henry, which was unfortunate. But, still, when you get into the fourth quarter and you have the ball, I don't know, 2 or 3 times and you can't move it, you have to punt it every single time in the fourth quarter. When the chips are on the table and the defense starts to get shaky in the clutch too, they can't stop anybody. It's the same old story. They're like they're here, but they're not here. You know what I mean? And unless you see them do it now against the Buffalo team, you're gonna have to have absolutely no mistakes on special teams, absolutely no mistakes really at all, no big penalties, and you're gonna have to rely on Buffalo shooting themselves in the foot, and then maybe you have a shot. So that's a lot of things that have to line up. Now, could they line up? Hey, every once in a while. They say that the stars and the moon and everything lined up. Everything would have to line up for them to win this game. It's possible. But think of all the things that have to line up. I mean, that's the kind of team that you are.
And then it makes you go from an average team to an elite team, or an elite team back to an average team, depending on which way it goes for you. And so, how many times have you seen, 4th down and 1, and people go for it and they fake and a guy jumps off sides. Things like that happen in the NFL, and we see it every week. And you scratch your head and you go, "Oh man, I can't believe he just did that." But sometimes those breaks go your way, and sometimes they don't. So it can transform you into that elite team, but can also bring you back down to reality when it goes against you. And so it has been tough sailing for the Patriots this year on some of those things. Some have worked for them, some haven't, and that's when coaching becomes involved. That's when you got the right players and personnel the way you want them, and things just gel and click. Has it been for the Patriots? Not really. Again, that's why they're just an average team right now, trying to find a way to make it up there into the top 8 to be, an upper echelon to make the playoffs. So they got to right the ship and do everything the right way, which is kind of usually goes, in their favor. And sometimes it's gone against them this year more than the past. Since they've had Gillette Stadium, the Buffalo Bills are only 4-16 in Gillette Stadium since it's been called Gillette. And New England has won 77 regular season games against the Buffalo Bills, the most New England's ever beaten any team. So, maybe they'll look at that and say, hey, it's a team we've beaten in the past. This is desperate times, desperate measures. This is a desperate team, Paul. They need to show up Thursday night, and they need a win badly.
I don't mean to discredit the homework that you put into that last statement there, going back and giving us all those statistics and everything. But remember, there's a little bit of difference in the roster there. Like we had the greatest quarterback of all time, and we had, all these great defenses, and they're a totally different team. So, that whatever that was, 16-4 or whatever that was, when Mac Jones takes the field, Tom Brady ain't coming through that door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, the point that you're making is well taken. You want to defend,
but I'm sure that gets in their mind and other
right. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Something that can get in there.
Yeah, it's bulletin board material, Paul. Bulletin board on both sides. Something that kind of fires the players up and say, hey, we have to defend our house.
Right. Right.
They're going to come in here, and we got to do a better job. Check on the weather, see if it's cold, if it's rainy. See what that looks like, and try to get and win the turnover battle, and then take one play at a time. But do the Patriots have the weapons to continue to make a run that can get them into the playoffs? And I've mentioned the guys already who are out there, and I don't know if those are the guys that you want to say, they can help us make the playoffs and go on a run. I just don't know if that's the personnel they want.
All right, well, give us a call if you'd like to talk sports with Chris and I. We always enjoy that at 774-762-6234. We're talking about the Patriots. We're talking about the Celtics. And again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Scotty's Pub in Fall River, Citywide Glass, Dartmouth, Fall River, and Taunton, Lakeville Athletic Club, of course, in Lakeville. That's why it's Lakeville Athletic Club. And Attorney John Seed down there in New Bedford, johnseedlaw.com. You can go to John's website and check out all of the great service that he provides in the legal field. All right, so, I'm looking at this game here. I'm looking at this game against Buffalo, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, Buffalo is no, Steelers, right? Cardinals, you talk about with Murray in there, totally different team, so they're going to be chasing him around like a dog chasing a tail, going around in circles, right? The Raiders, look, that's a team that you should beat. You should beat the Raiders, but, the Raiders aren't somebody that you're just going to steamroll over like they're nothing. I mean, they've lost a lot of close games during the year. You know what I mean? The Bengals are starting to play better, and then you got the Dolphins. You got Tua again, and then you got the Bills. I mean, you're 6-5 right now. Could the Patriots end up with 8 or 9 wins? Yeah, they could also end up with maybe 7 or 8. They win 1 or 2 more games and basically lose all the rest of them. Ended up 7-10, which I think was your prediction. So your prediction still has a shot here. Yeah, Chris had 7-10. I think you still have a shot with that. You know what I mean?
No, I hear what you're saying, Paul, but at the same time, you cannot look ahead right now if you're the New England Patriots. Mm-hmm. You have to sit right in front of you, focus on Thursday night. I'm not worrying about, what's coming up the week after that or the week after that. Right now, It's about the Buffalo Bills and what's the game plan that we did very poor last year against them. How do we this year that turns this around? So number one, I got to stop Josh Allen. That's the number one thing. I got to control him. I got to keep him. Number two, I got to stop Diggs. Diggs is their main guy. We got to make sure we keep an eye on him. So those are the two responsibilities first. After that, it's now our offense, our balance. Are we able to put some points on the board against Buffalo's defense, who has gotten better when they got Von Miller and a couple other guys in their draft and put them in the positions they wanted? But are we able to produce points, can convert third downs to get first downs, to keep moving the ball down the field, and of course, getting in the red zone, putting the ball in the end zone. Whether we run it, whether you pass it, doesn't matter. They have to do that. So to me, defense, it's Allen first, and obviously Diggs, and then come back offense and try to look at it from that way. And just worry about this game, Paul. And if the chips fall and Cincinnati loses or the Jets loses, hey, that helps you. But winning here is the first thing. And then you can worry because now you're going to have 10 days, remember, to think about, when you play again or whatever days is, because you're playing Thursday night. So you get a little bit of reprieve there before you get your next matchup. So just worry about this one right now and get the job done.
Well, one thing I think is a positive is that, most fans, when you're looking at the schedule, and you did this and I did this at the beginning of the season, we put this down as a loss, right? So if you can pull off the upset and win this game, just think how uplifting that would be, right? That would give you such confidence, right? That, hey, we can beat the Buffalo Bills. They're one of the top teams in the AFC. They came in our house, we beat them. We finally pulled it together. So now let's do something with this. So if they are able to pull off the upset, that would be so invigorating for them and such a boost in confidence that might propel them to win some of these games coming down the stretch that maybe ordinarily they would struggle. So hopefully that happens. Hopefully the Patriots pull off the upset this coming Thursday. They're playing like Thursday to Thursday, and this game is at Gillette Stadium, as we said. So this is a situation where the Buffalo Bills are going to be on the road at Gillette against the Patriots. So obviously a big one coming up this Thursday, and then after that game, it's all the way to 10 days before they go down and play against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right, now.
So, this game plan.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Paul, this game plan has to be executed perfectly this week, and they need it. It's not that they can't do it. They can. It's just a matter of, do they have the right people to execute what they want to get done? Now, play calling's been suspect at times, yet they show that they can move the ball down the field last week, and all of a sudden their defense can't stop nothing. Then you'll get another game where the defense can stop something and the offense can't move the ball down the field. So a lot of things have to go right for the Patriots to pull this upset off. They still can be done. I think Bill, can make it work. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Can they find a way to get it for one game? And then if they make this win, rejuvenate themselves to say, hey, listen, look what we just did. Let's continue this and get better down the stretch.
It definitely changes everything if they win this game, and basically, it's almost like a game that we're not expecting them to win. Nobody predicted that they would win. Everybody put it down as a loss at the beginning of the season. So that's the kind of game. I don't want to say the word freebie, but it almost is like a freebie in the sense that if you can pull it off and win the game, now it's like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? Especially after everything that's happened. I mean, they played Minnesota tough for 3 quarters, and if it just wasn't for a few plays in the fourth quarter, they would have been right there. So, I mean, if they can pull it off against Buffalo, I mean, that's the difference between winning and losing in the NFL, of course. But pulling it off against Buffalo, major upset. What that would do for them, where they would be seated, you look at they're not going to win the division, but you look at the wild card and all that, absolute confidence boost for the Patriots if they can pull it off.
Yeah, with KC being number one.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. KC number 1, Miami number 2, Tennessee 3, Baltimore 4, Buffalo at 5 right now, Cincy at 6, and the Jets at 7. So you think of 3 AFC East teams in the playoffs right now. Pretty special. Let's say New England got in there and made it 4. That would be incredible, in my opinion. But I don't know if that can happen because now you would have to kind of beat, some of your own teams. But the way they stand right now, it comes down to what the Jets, Cincinnati can really prove themselves in the next few weeks to go along with what New England and I guess the Chargers, because they're right there at 6-5 as well. How those 4 teams right there vying for probably 2 spots. That's what it kind of comes down to. Because I don't think you can catch Buffalo, Baltimore, Tennessee, Miami, and Kansas City. I think they're kind of too up unless someone really has a bad stretch run. But I don't see it. So I'm looking at Pats possibly 6-7 as far as they're going to go. I don't think they can get up to 5 or higher. So if they're going to make it, those are the teams you have to look at right now: Jets, Cincinnati, and Chargers. So keep an eye on them, and never mind what you have to do for yourself.
All right, keep those comments coming. 774-762-6234. If you'd like to get in, we're getting a comment here from All Sports. It says, Paul, you and Chris are the best. I hope to be as good as you someday. So thank you very much. It's a very nice compliment.
Thank you.
And let's see, guys, they chose Mac. They have to try and make it work. Key is manage possessions and ball control, limit turnovers and penalties.
Yep.
So that's definitely true, 100%.
Well, listen, they chose Mac. I have no problem with that, what they did. But if Mac doesn't do and he's creating turnovers or he doesn't run the offense like a Zach Wilson did with the Jets, and that's why he sat and they brought the other guy in. But right now, Mac has continued to move the offense. He's put some numbers up. He's, trying to get it. Now, has he converted the third downs? Has he got it in the red zone and scored? No. That's where the lack of production has been. So I agree. They went out and got him, and this is their focus because if they didn't, then Zappe would probably still be in there, Paul. But they made the move, and they sat Zappe back down and said, Mac's our guy. He's back from the ankle injury. He's going back in there, and we're going to run the rest of the year with him unless he can't prove himself. So has he done enough to prove himself? I guess so. Has he played average quarterback? I think so. Not an elite, but average enough. But he needs to get the next step and make those big plays, continue drives, and score in the red zone.
All right, a con man checking in over here. How you doing, con man? Give us a shout if you want to. And let's see, we have a call coming in right now. Hello, you are on Santos on Sports.
Nice.
Hi. Do you guys have any toilet paper?
Do we have toilet paper? No, we don't.
Toilet paper. I need some right now. Well, I'm just asking you to bring some over.
Well, I know that you're probably joking, but who is this?
Wait, this isn't Ronnie?
No, you got the wrong number.
Oh, Lord, I am so sorry. It's just I haven't spoken to anyone in such a long time. Please stay on the line with me. I don't want to lose anyone.
I think you got the wrong number. I don't know what was going on there. Wow, I didn't think we were going to be
Paul,
on
you want me to
long
respond
enough.
to that, Paul?
What's that?
You want me to respond to that?
Well, you're the X's and O's guy, so go ahead.
Paul, you want me to respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when she first called and asked for toilet paper, I think she was saying that, you've been just shoveling too much of your own stuff, and she needed some toilet paper for listening. It's the only thing I could think of, Paul.
Yeah, there may be some truth to that. That's possible. That's very possible. I don't know. That was strange. But anyway, hey, the number's there. So 774-762-6234. Hey, that's the first time we got a crank call. So that's all right. I guess we can chalk that up
Yep.
we got a crank call. So that means we're for real now. You have to get a crank call every once in a while. So anyway, where were we? Yes, Mac Jones, right? Again, the quarterback gets all the attention because when you're winning, quarterback gets all the attention. So that comes with a job, right? You're winning, quarterback gets all the accolades. You're losing, quarterback gets all the criticism, right? But when you really think about it, right? There was a week there, you threw a bunch of interceptions and all that. And then the next couple of weeks after that, he didn't throw any interceptions, right? So well, look, he cleaned that up. He's not throwing any interceptions. Well, it's because every time they go into the red zone, they never go for the first down. They hand the ball off and kick a field goal, So when it really comes time to throw the ball down the field where it can get risky, right? It's almost like, hey, if you want to play that conservative and only throw 3-yard passes all day and hand the ball off to Stevenson and check down all day and then not even bother going for the first down when you get in the red zone, you can keep the interceptions down. That doesn't prove anything to me. Not really. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. And if my stats are right, he's played 25 career games so far. He has 28 touchdowns, but I believe he has 20 interceptions. That's a lot in 25 games.
Right. Okay, so I'm getting a comment here from All Sports as Mikey Connie says, he's not going to call now. Why, you don't want to follow up that last one? That we need a good follow-up. We need a good follow-up to that last phone call. So give us a call at 774-762-6234. And we still got about 15 minutes left or so, assuming that we can keep this connection going over here. We're going to have to do some checking because the last few weeks things have been a little shaky with our hookup over here. So we want to make sure that we're definitely good to go when it comes to our internet connection with Chris over here. Now, let's see. It says here, I'm no longer with All Sports. What's going on? I don't know. Your comments are coming in as All Sports. So whether you're All Sports or some sports or any kind of sports, we're happy to have you looking in here today on Santos on Sports. Okay. Celtics, right? I went up to the game, actually. My son works up there, I'd mentioned before. I actually went to the Dallas game, figuring, I'll see Luka. You got Luka, and you got, of course, on the Celtics side, Tatum and Brown and all that. I'm watching the game, and Luka played absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm trying to remember. He must have scored close to 50 points. He had an absolutely tremendous game. But then he's like the only guy in the team. It's him, and you got Dimwitty or whatever the name is there. Hardaway Jr. I mean, you haven't really got the same kind of weapons around him that Tatum has. So I'm looking at that team, and I'm like, it's a one-man team. It's a one-man team, right? So, that was a game that I thought might go down to the wire. Well, not really with the weapons that Dallas has. The Celtics are basically quite superior to the Dallas Mavericks. So that's my take on that. And let's see. We got another comment here from All Sports. The comment from All Sports says, guys, sometimes players need a few years under their belt. Well, that may be. And we're definitely seeing it with Tatum. Now, Chris, did you see the Dallas Mavericks game? All right, let's see. We're getting another call.
I did watch that Mavericks game.
All right, hang on a second. I'm getting a call, and I'm going to take a chance here, okay? Ready? Hello, you're on Santos on Sports.
Hello.
Yes.
How you doing this fine day?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, that's good to hear. I'm calling to ask your support for Donald J. Trump.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that call, but this is not a political
Y'all know
show.
He's hitting the polls, right?
Do I know who's at the polls?
I guarantee you this country's going down a big hole if you ain't supporting this man.
All right. Well, this is a sports show. You got the wrong. You
ain't being reasonable.
No, you got the wrong number.
You want to keep all them immigrants out of here?
No, you got the wrong number, right?
They're trying to destroy America.
All right, that
wants to make America great again.
No, that's fine, but this isn't a political show. This is a sports show, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much. All right. Did you hear that, Chris? Are you hearing that on your end? Well, if you didn't hear it, so somebody is saying
it was coming in and out for me, Paul. But I guess we got some callers, some crankers today. It's going from toilet paper to Donald Trump.
Well, it said on there that call was coming in from looking like Alabama. I'm thinking Alabama. Why is anybody calling from Alabama? I don't know how many Patriot fans we have down there. So anyway, but this has been a crazy show. Well, the first thing we're going to do is
no, I don't think so.
Chris and I are going to work on whatever is going on with the internet here. I'm not sure what's happening with our connection the last few weeks, but it's been a little shaky.
Yeah.
So we're going to fix that between now and next week. It's sort of like Belichick fixing the offense. We're going to have to fix the internet,
That's right.
All right. So
we'll have to put a game plan.
We'll come up with a game plan. We'll drop a game plan. So how about those Cowboys? What's going on with them?
Well, yeah, you got to kind of like. I know the Giants were a little banged up, and we took advantage of it. Again, still a lot of penalties, which I don't like. But I like the way they're using Pollard more. So they got Elliott and Pollard. That's nice to see. I think that keeps the load off Elliott's back, and he can be used, as a battering ram, get in that goal line offense, get in that end zone, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2. But Pollard's more that first down, second down, catches ball out of the backfield. Lamb's come along this year very nicely, getting obviously Gallup back in the lineup has helped us. And we've even thrown in a couple of different tight ends. So that's been great too. And then you put it all together with a solid defense. And then that's what I like, a solid defense. And Micah Parsons, probably one of the best in the league. It starts with him, and then we work around what he can do. But when he's that active and that creative, it opens up a lot of doors and avenues for the rest of this defense. And that's what's made him successful this year.
Well, Chris is a big Cowboys guy, as we all know, and the NFC is kind of wide open right now. Well, there's a team that's kind of sneaking up there, kind of the dark horse team, and it is none other than the San Francisco 49ers. So let's go on the line here. Mr. Turner is on the line. How you doing?
Yeah, baby. I'm a big 49er fan. That's right. That's right.
Well, you were all excited, but who are they playing? The Saints. They stink, for God's sake,
Of course you're going to say that, man.
So what do you think? You think the 49ers have a good chance coming down the stretch?
Dude, I think they got a good chance. Are you crazy? Of course they're gonna win. We're gonna take it, man.
Oh yeah, take it. What do you mean? The Super Bowl?
We're gonna take the whole thing, baby.
You ain't gonna take the Super Bowl. You're gonna take the toilet bowl.
We're gonna take that too.
Well, I don't know. Let me ask Chris. Hang on a second. Let me ask Chris. What do you think about the San Francisco 49ers? They're definitely a team that, I'm looking at them. I'm like, I gotta tell you, they're dangerous.
Very dangerous.
They are, and it starts with their defense.
That's right.
What they've been able to do. They have Miami this week, though, Paul. So I want to see how they do against Waddle. I want to see how they do against Tyreek Hill. I want to see how they handle Tua and what that offense brings. So they've been playing well. Jimmy G, just maintaining the offense, not making the big turnovers, just scoring enough to get it done. But they are a dangerous team. And I expect to see San Fran in the playoffs at the end. I'm hoping it's another rivalry between Dallas and San Fran once again to see who can go on to the Super Bowl. That would be nice, Chops. Me against you for the NFC title. That would be awesome.
I agree with you. San Fran looks good. The defense, they stepped it up a little bit. They stepped it up a little bit. They still got some areas they need to clean up a little bit. The offense should be clicking on all cylinders. They got two of the guys, if you saw today on Facebook, two of the guys that used to play with the 49ers who are now running backs for Miami. So they're hot, man.
Yeah, they want to get some revenge.
Wilson?
Yeah, they want revenge, yeah. So it's going to be a good game, man. So this will tell me how great their defense is against Miami this week. This will tell us how great they are,
Now, Chops, before we
I agree.
sign off, because we're coming down the home stretch here, did you see the last Patriots game against the Vikings?
Yeah, I saw that game.
Yeah, what'd you think about that?
The Patriots had it, man, but they blew it.
That about sums it up in a nutshell. Talk about cutting to the chase.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm not a Patriot fan. I got to be honest with you guys, but I'm not a Belichick fan. I think Belichick's overrated. You know, I think he's overrated. The Patriots, you know, they're suspect. You know,
they're just not quite there. You know what I mean?
They ain't beating Buffalo. You can forget that.
You think they're going to get spanked?
If they let that quarterback run, they're going to get killed.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Then after that,
yeah, if he runs and throws out that pocket, they ain't got a shot. But if they can contain him, but they got so many weapons, man. So it's going to be hard to really keep them 4 quarters locked down. You know, locked down.
Right, and then after that, right, even though they got 10 days, the next game after that is the Cardinals, and when Kyler Murray is in there, totally different situation because he starts running around too.
That's true. He can run too. He's a threat. That quarterback's a threat because he can run too. You know. So a running lastly, a running quarterback for the 49ers too can be very difficult. 49ers don't play good against a running quarterback.
What about against a guy like Tua?
Tua, yeah, they might have trouble this with Miami because they against running quarterbacks are not that good.
Yeah.
I'll say against Miami, if they can lock Miami down, I say if they win Miami, they win the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow!
I'm going to tell you because it's a big test for them. You know, when I was out there playing football, I didn't care who they had on there. I don't care who they had, who they brought on. You play football, you play football. I don't care who's out there.
All right. I'm gonna watch that game closely because if they win that game, that means they're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if they win that game, I think they're gonna win the Super Bowl.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chops. We'll talk to you later.
You guys take it easy, man.
All right.
49ers all the way.
See you, Chops.
Hey, you know, he was saying the same thing you did, that, you know, having San Francisco play against Miami is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, I think it is too, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But hey, listen, if I was as happy as Chops is, and Paul, did he play during the days when they didn't wear helmets? That's the first thing I want to know. Okay, and second, if I had as much energy as that guy, boy, I'll tell you, the Cowboys might go into the Super Bowl too. But I don't have that much confidence as he does with the 49ers. But I think I see it down the line, San Fran and Dallas colliding against each other this year in the playoffs.
I think that's a possibility. And actually, that would be a great game. I'd love to see it, actually, because I think it would be a really, really good contest between, you know, teams that are probably very similarly rated as far as what they can do and so forth. All right, so let's see. Not a week, is actually just a couple of days from now.
I agree with you there. And, you know, you look at the matchups, it'll be fun.
Go ahead. There's a delay. Go ahead.
No, I just think that I agree with you that there could be a possible matchup. And, you know, you look at, they're kind of similar in a lot of ways. You know, Dak might have a little bit more experience than Jimmy G, but the wide receivers look the same. The defense is coming the same. There's a lot of things that are equal with those two teams. And, you know, we've had such rivalries with those guys going back to Aikman and Young, and, you know, and down the line there with Montana and all them around that we've had. So it would be fun to get that matchup back again.
Well, you know, we're getting a comment here. Chops was a great football player. National Flag Football Championship team.
Ooh, hey, listen, I got that with Chops. I was Springfield College intramural flag football champion myself. So I know a little bit about that. One at Springfield College. Then we played AIC, beat them. We played Western New England, beat them. So I was kind of happy. Just wasn't playing tennis then. I was actually playing some other sports, and a football guy I was back in the day.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. What position did you play in flag football?
I did. I was actually the quarterback. We had our nickname of our team was called the Legion of Doom, and so that was the name of our team. And I still talk about that with my college guys every time we talk on the phone or we see each other in person. The Legion of Doom always comes out.
All right. Well, we're going to have to pick up this conversation. I want to get a little more information about this. So this guy here, he was, like the Tom Brady of that team. It looks like he was running the whole show over there. So I want to get more information on this. All right. So we'd like to take the opportunity to thank Scotty's Pub, Pleasant Street, Fall River, Citywide Glass, locations in Dartmouth, Fall River, and Taunton, Lakeville Athletic Club in Lakeville, Massachusetts, and John Seed, attorney at law. You can check out his website at johnseedlaw.com. Okay, we're going to tighten things up technically between now and the next show, we promise. And by then, we'll have to see what happens with the Patriots, but definitely a make it or break it game against Buffalo. I don't see it, but wouldn't it be something if they could pull off the upset? That's why they play the game, right? That's why they play the game. All right, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again soon. For Chris Santos, I'm Paul Santos. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon.